Hey guys, it's been a while. Actually, not really. It's been less than a week. But in that week, I have been incredibly busy. Again, that's not true. But I have been doing something that I have tried to do so many times in my life and failed, and that is playing Donkey Kong 64. Now, I have played Donkey Kong 64. I beat Jungle Japes probably 5 or 6 times. And I'll say that I've played it on means that Nintendo didn't intend on you playing it. Like, I'll say it like that, you know? And so I figured, you know what? I was at work one day. Shout out to my buddy Felix, my coworker. He's like, I'll sell you an N64, a controller, all the cords, and the expansion pack for $60. And I'm like, no way. Like, I was already looking for an N64, and he's like, perfect. He got it all cleaned up and detailed, gave it to me that day. So again, shout out to my buddy Felix. I have my very own N64, and with that, I have my very own copy of Donkey Kong 64. Again, like I've said, I've tried to play this game so many times and failed in the past just because it was overwhelming. I didn't like the controls at all, with the C button having to map it to the right analog stick on, again, means that Nintendo didn't intend on you playing the game on. I couldn't get immersed. And that all changed when I fired up my very own N64. I can't believe I have an N64 now. Incredible. And I started playing it. And something incredible happened. Something that it doesn't happen not only in general, but just it doesn't happen to me. I finally understood. As I was playing through, and at this point in time, I am over halfway done with the game. I have like 13 hours, I think, into the game. I've beaten the first 4 worlds, just beat Gloomy Galleon, which was definitely my least favorite world so far. But coming off of Factory, which has been my favorite world so far, what are you going to do? We're going to talk about all of that, don't worry. But I finally saw what they were trying to do. Chunky Kong is now my favorite Kong. He's my favorite character, which I never in a million years thought he would replace Donkey Kong, but he did. Got my cool Donkey Kong 64 poster right there, kind of being ruined by the window. But who cares? I cannot wait to talk about this game with you guys. It's going to be by far the longest video that I have put up about a single game on my channel. So grab some snacks. We're going to have 2 guests in this video, 2 big inspirations and friends of the channel that I can't believe are going to be in my video with me. So grab some snacks, buckle up, and let's talk about how I finally understand Donkey Kong 64.
Okay. Here we go.
As the intro said, yes, I am finally experiencing Donkey Kong 64 the way that it was intended. And I didn't just play it for 5 minutes for the meme, right? I didn't just watch the DK rap and bounce, which is, I have done that before in the past. I really played it. I dedicated several hours. I sat down, picked up my controller, and I committed. I'm 4 worlds in now. So, little update from last video. I am now 100% done with the first 4 worlds of the game. Dozens of hours, hundreds of bananas collected, and my brain is kind of stuck somewhere between admiration of the game, but also confusion. But, finally, I think I'm at a place where I can say that I get it now. Kind of. Probably. This is Donkey Kong 64. A game that's both way too much and, oddly, not enough, depending on how you look at it. A game where these 5 Kongs share one island, but they don't share a single collectible. It's a game that has made me laugh, has made me groan, has made me scream in frustration, and sometimes makes you say, I have no idea where I'm going. And I want to talk about it. Finally. For years, I've attempted to play Donkey Kong 64, but I could never get past Jungle Japes. Again, like I said in the intro, I played it through means which Nintendo didn't intend, and I couldn't get immersed. It was impossible. Mapping all 4 C buttons to one analog stick just felt off. And so, I would quit. Donkey Kong 64 is the game with too many collectibles, right? The game that people say Rare went too far. This is the game that needed the expansion pack. The whole reason the expansion pack exists is because of Donkey Kong 64. As if the console itself said, I just can't handle it. The game's bloated. The game is excessive. The game is a monkey-themed fever dream throughout the entire thing, but deep down, it also felt like something that I had been missing out on for years and years, because the time that I have been having with it has been incredible. I've touched Banjo-Kazooie, I absolutely love Mario 64, but DK64 has always been the one that got away, even though Donkey Kong is my favorite brand ever. And now after playing it, I realize the game is everything that its reputation says it is, and so much more. So let's talk about the bananas. There are 5 different Kongs, right? Donkey, Diddy, Tiny, Lanky, and Chunky. Each one of them gets 100 colored bananas per world, okay? So you can only collect a color if you're playing as the matching Kong. So if you're Donkey, you get the yellow ones. If you're Diddy, you get the red ones, etc. So yeah, that's 500 bananas per world, and that's just the regular bananas. Multiplied by, I don't even know. You add in the gold bananas, which is the main collectible of the game, the ones that you need to progress to the next world and to the final boss, plus the banana medals, and then plus you have the coins as well, and then you also have the blueprints, which in turn give you bananas, and then the banana fairies to take pictures of, and then the keys, and then the battle crowns as well, and then the rare coin, and then the Nintendo coin. It's a lot. It is the kind of game where the pause menu looks like someone poured a bowl of Lucky Charms into a spreadsheet and just is okay with it. They just rolled with it. At first, and even a little bit still, it's extremely overwhelming, and that's one of the reasons that I quit. Scratch that. It's not overwhelming. It's infuriating. You'll walk into a room, a brand new room or an area, and you'll see 10 bananas that you can't pick up because you brought the wrong Kong. So you backtrack. A lot. And while you're backtracking, you'll question and ask yourself, is this really worth it? But somewhere in the middle of the third world, Frantic Factory, my personal favorite so far, incredible, I absolutely love it, I had a really weird moment. I was running around as Lanky, collecting the blue bananas, which are his, and then I realized that this is fun. I knew the layout of the area, I knew who needed to go where, and I was switching between characters like it was second nature. It finally clicked. The bananas, to me, they didn't feel just like busy work. I mean, objectively they probably are, but they didn't feel like that. They were a rhythm. The game was teaching me how to dance with it, how to vibe with it. Awkwardly, sure, with the terrible camera controls, but it did it on its own terms. And then once you surrender to that, once you accept that Donkey Kong 64 is what it is, it just stopped feeling like a chore to me. It started feeling like a test of memory, of patience, and definitely of endurance and trust. Because once you know the layout of an area, it becomes infinitely easier. And once you actually get into the area and you start memorizing where things are, it becomes a wildly rewarding experience. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about the Kongs, our main 5 characters. Donkey Kong, y'all know him and love him. He's the leader of the bunch. You know him well. He's your all-rounder, the Mario of our group of characters. He punches stuff, he barrel rolls, he's got coconut guns, and they fire in spurts. Diddy Kong, he's faster, he's more agile, kind of like he was in DKC. He's got a jetpack, which is atrocious to control. And he also plays the guitar, because why not? Lanky is a walking existential crisis, and they even make fun of him in the rap. He's a clown, he has arms like inflatable car dealership things, and he runs on all 4s and can inflate like a balloon. The devs clearly had way too much fun making him, and probably making fun of him. Tiny is the smallest, and I still don't quite understand why she's not Dixie Kong, because they have the same hair ability, but I rest my case. I still like Tiny. She's cool. She can shrink down and to fit into the holes. She's a gymnast, and she plays a saxophone the size of her body, probably even taller. And Chunky, my goat, my favorite character, Chunky Kong, he is just pure strength. He's the only one who can lift boulders, which once I figured that out, I then had to backtrack to Jungle Japes, and then back to Angry Aztec, and then back to the factory, and it may seem like a lot, but it is incredibly fun. He can also smash gates, turn into an actual giant, and he also does ballet. No, I'm not kidding. I love that the characters are not just reskins. They are different tool sets with different abilities, and characters that you have to use in certain scenarios, different personalities. And when the game starts demanding that you know which Kong can do what, that is when it feels a lot less like a 3D platformer and more like a massive puzzle box, which I really enjoyed. So again, like I've said, I've played the first 4 worlds so far. I'm currently playing through Fungi Forest, but I don't want to talk about it until my next Donkey Kong 64 video where I've played the entire thing. The first 4 world, Jungle Japes, it's your basic jungle world. It's a tutorial world, you know, it's innocent, it's inviting, it's fine, relatively harmless. Kind of place that kind of tricked me into thinking the game wouldn't be that hard. I was wrong. Angry Aztec is the second world. It's got the desert temples, quicksand, ancient ruins, and torture chambers for the Kongs. Frantic Factory, and this is where it got real for me. This is where the game finally clicked. I unlocked Chunky, and I started seeing all the stuff that I had been missing, and I got it. The music is incredibly unsettling. The lighting gets a lot darker. The level has kind of a twisted Willy Wonka vibe in a weird way. I'm just putting that together now. And you get introduced to mini games that are not okay. And this is where the game starts slapping your hands when you get too comfortable. Smacking you on the wrist, telling you to knock it off. It's hard. Gloomy Galleon. Yes, the obligatory underwater world. Because, of course, it has to have an underwater world. But I will say it is miles better than the Water Temple in Ocarina of Time. And it's not the worst world in a game that I've played. It's okay. But it is easily the worst world so far. It's got haunted pirate ships, mechanical fish bosses, and actual tension. I did like the vibes of this area. Water mechanics aren't great, but you do kind of get used to them, and the atmosphere is surprisingly strong here. Although it does have one of the worst boss fights I've ever experienced. It's not horrible in principle, but it just goes on for way too long. Each world so far has felt distinct, not just in the visuals, but in just how they feel. There's a kind of like weirdness to them, a texture. They're just also different from each other. And yeah, the level design can be extremely confusing, especially Gloomy Galleon, but once you get it, like once you just run around them at the, like right when you get introduced to a new world, you run around and you see, okay, I need to come back with Chunky to this area. I need to come back to this area later with Diddy. I need to go that way with Donkey Kong later. But just memorize the layout, get all of the teleportation pads, which are a godsend in this game, and you get accustomed to it, and it becomes kind of second nature. Now, addressing the music, Grant Kirkhope does not miss. The music in DK64 is a huge part of why any of this works at all. There are tracks that are playful, that are ominous, mysterious, and absurd, all at the same time. Each world has themes that morph when you enter different areas, or switch characters, or go underwater even. I really appreciated that in Gloomy Galleon. Frantic Factory's janky, off-kilter melody kind of sounds like a toy piano, and Angry Aztec has those deep, earthy tones that make everything feel very ancient with the strings and them, and it just makes it feel threatening. And like I said, Gloomy Galleon's ambiance with the water sells the atmosphere much better than the world design or the graphics ever could, in my opinion. The soundtrack does a lot of the emotional heavy lifting. Without it, the game might collapse under its incredible weight. With it, there's a sense of cohesion, not even just narratively, but gameplay as well. Even when you're literally just watching Chunky Kong shoot pineapples at a robot barrel, you get it. You understand. Now, the game isn't perfect. I want to get that out of the way. I've even discussed it a little bit. It is not perfect. It is very much a product of its time, and yeah, the camera blows. The controls sometimes are incredibly slippery, especially when trying to climb the lighthouse in Gloomy Galleon. The backtracking can be brutal depending on who you are. And a lot of those minigames, some of them feel like the devs just felt like punishing you. The golden banana where you have to race that stupid beetle as Tiny Kong, I'm glad that I did it, because I got a golden banana out of it and I was able to 100% Angry Aztec. But oh my word, what was the point of that? It was so infuriating. Whatever. Weirdly, the game sometimes feels like it hates you, but I didn't hate it back? I'm still playing the game, obviously, but I'm over 50% of the way through. I've 100% of the first 4 areas, which I wasn't planning on doing, but I have this thing where I just get so sucked into collectathons that I just really, really like the grind. The little dopamine hit every time you get a golden banana. I don't know. It kind of sticks with me. I'm still finding golden bananas I didn't know existed in corners that I thought I had cleared. And I'm still hearing new lines of Kong voice acting that sounds like they were recorded at gunpoint. And I'm here for it. There is something very charming about how excessive the game is, to me. Something admirable in its refusal to edit itself. Like, it looked rare in the face. It gained sentience and said, we're gonna give you everything, whether you like it or not. And now, 4 worlds in, I think I love it. And with all of that out of the way, and with no introduction necessary, I have two very good friends and friends of the channel, and YouTubers that you might recognize. I mean, I'm sure you do. We have my friends SuperJoeBros and JiggyLookBack here to kind of give me their overall thoughts on Donkey Kong 64. Obviously, both of them are huge fans of the game, and I appreciate them so much for wanting to be a part of this journey with me, to be a part of this video. So, here is SuperJoeBros.
Hello there, lovers of Donkey Kong. I'm SuperJoeBros of that YouTube channel, SuperJoeBros. I have a whole lot of love for the banana yellow cartridge that is Donkey Kong 64. I'm so pumped to hear that Just Nintendo has come around with this game. So let's dive into it, shall we? I could probably list 100 reasons why I love Donkey Kong 64, but at the very top of the list, it's absolutely the characters. Such a wacky, charming, lovable cast of goofy characters. It's pretty mind-blowing to me that Rare was capable of making these polygons so expressive and fun in comparison to other titles on the Nintendo 64. When it comes to the Kongs, the Kremling, or even those bothersome naughties, I love them all and wouldn't change a thing. The 5 playable characters are so different from each other. I love how this is reflected not only in the way they control, but in their personalities too. DK, the laid-back and fun leader of the bunch. Diddy is one cool Kong. Lanky is goofy and lovable. Tiny is a confident tomboy with some sass. Chunky is a shy but the strongest of the group. A lot of the Kong's abilities and moveset reflect their personalities, like Chunky's Gorillagon or Lanky's Baboon Balloon. But we see them shine in unexpected areas of the game, like the DK Rap and the Tag Barrel. Just look at Lanky. No style, no grace, funny face. You got that right. Chunky Kong wants to be picked in the Tag Barrel, but then, oh no, he's too timid and suggests selecting Tiny Kong. Ugh, I love this so much. And those Kremling are just as memorable too. King K. Rool starts off looking really intimidating in the first few cutscenes, but once the player reaches the end of the game, it's clear that K. Rool is just as goofy and distracted as his unreliable minions. The variety of Kremling are really cool in this game. Critters, Clumps, Claptraps, Kasplats, Koshas, Crowbots, Crossbones, Cops, Clobbers and Kabooms, Crash, Ghosts. A good batch of these characters are make and return from the country games, but it's great to see brand new baddies as well, all having different methods in defeating them too. Those basic kicks and punches will no longer work for each one. And how could I forget K. Lumsy? It's pretty cool how this game brings in the unexpected opposites. Instead of those horrifying Manky Kongs attacking, we have a lovable goofball orangutan on the team. And this time around, we're helping a Kremling out of this locked cage. Maybe the real adventure was the friends we made along the way. I've never been a David Wise versus Grant Kirkhope kind of guy. They're both talented composers and serve the games with a soundtrack that it needs. I've read a handful of comments online that David provided a serious tone with the country games, and I can agree that's what those games needed. DK64 is quite the Banjo-Kazooified type of Donkey Kong game. So with Grant working on both titles, I think it makes perfect sense for him to continue that silly, bubbly vibe to DK64 as he did for the Banjo games. But Grant still wrote music that this game needed. There's plenty of darker, serious music in this game that brings so much depth. King K. Rool's theme is amongst some of my favorites. Just about any track for Gloomy Galleon or Creepy Castle, as well as Hideout Helm and the ending, to name a few. But I also love that Grant remixed Jungle Hijinks from the country games for the first world Jungle Japes. It goes to show his range and his respect for the source material. I've mentioned some of this in my own videos, but it's certainly worth mentioning again because the music is that important to this game. DK Isle gives us one of the most important tracks in the entire game. The World Hub itself is so cozy, relaxing, and connects us to the rest of the levels that we will adventure through. This feels like home to me. While the drums in the score reflects the adventure, it's the flute that expresses peace. The DK Isle theme doesn't just provide adventure or nostalgia. As I just hinted, it truly connects us to each level in this game. The lobbies are repeating the same DK Isle melody, but now it's rewritten to match the theme of that world. Each iteration is done masterfully. Some of my favorite lobbies are Angry Aztec, Frantic Factory, Creepy Castle. Who am I kidding? They're all my favorites. The music does an incredible job of further reflecting each Kong's personality. From their musical instruments, to the shift in music for the tag barrel, and even their segments for the DK rap. This is such a useful mechanic to showcase who each Kong is. I feel like I know them better than Mario or Link. Like, one might assume the Hunky Chunky would play a big instrument like the tuba or timpani, but it's that triangle that accurately portrays how timid Chunky is. He doesn't want to fight. But then we have Diddy Kong rocking out to his guitar, flying around with a jetpack with peanut pop guns. That rock music absolutely makes him look like one cool Kong. And if it says so in the DK rap, then it must be true. It's pretty simple. Either you love the DK rap or you're wrong. DK64 gets a lot of criticism for its spike in difficulty and backtracking. Some of it is certainly justified. Beaver Bother is a great example. Say no more. And obviously, I'm not going to say I love Beaver Bother, but I've come to really appreciate that this game taught me problem solving and patience. After all, I was a kid when I played this game. That's a great time to learn such lessons. Beaver Bother is a totally busted bonus stage, and it has me questioning if it was ever play tested. But after a few attempts, it becomes clear that something isn't right, and it takes a certain trick to get those naughties into the hole. Some of Diddy Kong's jetpack challenges are another example. On paper, this is a really simple task, but the controls for the jetpack can get frustrating. And while the simple solution is to create better controls, duh, I can't deny that I was taught patience and troubleshooting here. Ease up on the A button, use little gestures on the control stick, hold the Z button to hover in the air. Take the time to learn how the jetpack works and its limitations, instead of just mashing the A button. Now the jetpack is fun to use. But one of the biggest lessons I learned from DK64 is delayed gratification. In my days, I've played a whole lot of Mario, Pokemon, and Zelda. Never once was I concerned about 100%ing those games. I was down for the adventure and good times. Then I picked up DK64 and, the Game Select stream provides a percentage completed. Should I go for the 100%? I'm a strong believer that you do not need to collect every single thing to enjoy this game. That's just chaotic. Collect the bare minimum and this game is still great, which means you can skip Beaver Bother. But I enjoyed the feeling of progress each time I booted up the game. Collecting one golden banana felt great, but I wanted to collect them all. I enjoyed the process of collecting all 100 colored bananas for each Kong in each world. And I enjoy the process of collecting all 201 gold bananas for that 101% complete. Exploring every nook and cranny of these colorful worlds and discovering yet another item to collect brings me joy that I can't better describe. It brings me this satisfying I did it feeling. The only gift in doing so is bragging rights, but I'll take it, because each collectible obtained brought me closer to that goal. And I poured countless hours into a game that I love. I could go on all day about this game and why I love it so much. And lucky for you all, I have a whole lot more DK64 videos on my own channel. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to Just Nintendo before heading over. Thank you, Just Nintendo, for featuring me in today's video. We love to see more supporters of this game. Peace out.
And now, JiggyLookBack.
Hey everyone, it's your old pal JiggyLookBack. You know, if there's a discussion about DK64, I have to give my 2 cents, whether invited or not. But in this case, yes, I was invited. So let's talk about my favorite elements of DK64. The things that make me say, "Oh, banana." The first thing is the massive, insane amount of collectibles. There are people in this world who would complain about that, but I am not one of them. This game strikes a good balance between the world size and being densely packed with content. Sure, one could argue that unifying the colored bananas would have improved the game flow, and some argue the Take Anywhere mod pushed it to the next level, but I find absolute great satisfaction in collecting things one section at a time and mapping out my most strategic way to play each level as each Kong. It scratches an itch I didn't even know I had. And of course, the huge payoff of throwing all your bananas to Scoff to make him gain size to help Truff reach the lock and turn the key. This is the most satisfying thing of any game ever. Another element I think takes DK64 to the next level is the actual moody atmosphere of the game. You've got the cartoony-like over-the-top animation style, but with the moody and mysterious lighting. I mean, walking down the cave at the beginning of the game to reach DK Isle, you see everything lit in a dark blue tinge, and it creates vibes for days, assisted by the absolute banger of a Kirkhope soundtrack that I'm sure everyone can get behind and probably will talk about, so I won't linger too much on that other than I agree, it's a banger. The vibes and atmosphere don't stop at the music or the lighting though. The actual level designs of so many worlds are insane here. Jungle Japes making a callback to the original DK Country jungle hijinks, while still making it feel fresh. Fungi Forest being a scrapped banjo level that made its way to DK, and somehow it fits perfectly. And the bizarre creep factor of Frantic Factory with robotic Kremlings everywhere, those are just some of my favorite levels. And those are just a few. And finally, the colorful cast of Kongs. Though it's a bit strange we saw the addition of Tiny and Chunky instead of Dixie and Kitty, the new Kongs are a welcome addition and everyone loves them. And lore-wise, they connect quite nicely to the Kong family, Tiny being Dixie's sister and Chunky being Kitty's brother. And by the way, they're both cousins. Not to mention Lanky, who adds a bit of variety to the Manky Kong line of things. This game has style, and ever since I acquired it back in 1999, it's been one of my favorites. I'll always love DK64. Thanks for having me on, and I hope to see you all real soon. Jiggy out.
Thank you guys so much again for doing this. You guys have no idea what it means, and it just makes me incredibly happy to see good people in the Nintendo YouTuber space. And I'm not finished with the game. Not even close. But I think I now understand what Donkey Kong 64 is. It's not just a collectathon. It's not just a punchline. It is a massive, imperfect, chaotic, lovable mess of a game. The kind of game that only existed in a certain time with a very certain team on a console that couldn't even handle it. It's a game that asks too much and dares you to say no. And I haven't said no yet, and I don't think I will. Not while there are bananas left to find.